Hello and welcome to the Pretty Good Gaming Daily Triple. That's your no shit gaming news video. 3 news stories in one video with 0 faff. CD Projekt is one of the only major video game companies out there that actually seems to give a shit about stuff that isn't just your money. However, because of that glowing reputation among gamers, anytime anything remotely controversial happens with the company, things take a dire turn.
But the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail, fall, die trying.
That's precisely what happened with a recent GameSpot article, and clearly a lot of people just read the headline instead of reading what the words actually say. The article is based on an earnings report with the company, and the headline reads, Cyberpunk 2077 dev talks multiplayer modes microtransactions. We won't be aggressive. But that wasn't the first headline, and it was originally missing the critical distinction that the dev is talking about the multiplayer project of Cyberpunk, not the main Cyberpunk 2077 game. Omitting the mention of multiplayer is misleading and is not something that CD Projekt is standing for. After people took the article and ran with the clickbait notion that Cyberpunk 2077 will feature microtransactions, Cyberpunk's official Twitter account was forced to clarify the situation. It quote tweeted a statement from March last year saying no microtransactions, and added, nothing changed, Cyberpunk 2077 is a single player game with 0 microtransactions. One single purchase, no tricks, don't believe the clickbait. This talk of microtransactions came in response to a question from a shareholder about how aggressive the monetization will be. What joint CEO and president of CD Projekt Adam Kaczynski actually said in the earnings call was this: "We're never aggressive towards our fans. We treat them fairly and we're friendly. So of course not, we won't be aggressive, but you can expect great things to be bought. The goal is to design monetization in a way that makes people happy to spend money. I'm not trying to be cynical or hide something, it's about creating a feeling of value. Same with our single player games. We want gamers to be happy while spending money on our products. The same is true for microtransactions. You can expect them, of course, and Cyberpunk is a great setting for selling things, but it won't be aggressive. It won't upset gamers, but it'll make them happy. That's our goal, at least." To be fair, all of that is basically in line with how all the different corporations talk about microtransactions to their shareholders, and offering them in a way that makes gamers happy is only a short step away from EA's sense of pride and accomplishment. But Cyberpunk 2077 is the single player game, the multiplayer spin-off is its own thing and not called Cyberpunk 2077, they're different. In subsequent tweets, they reiterated that the multiplayer component of Cyberpunk will have some form of microtransactions. Cyberpunk Multiplayer/Online, which is a separate project, will have some microtransactions, but we said that a year ago already. Like always, expect us treating your money with respect. It's unclear what separate project actually means, but that's likely because the developers themselves don't even know what it is yet, as it's still years away, arriving in 2022 at the earliest. It could be an add-on to the base single-player game like with GTA 5 and GTA Online, or it could be a completely separate product that you buy and play individually like Fallout 76 versus Fallout 4, or it could even be a free-to-play game and monetized like CD Projekt's Gwent. So, just to be clear, Cyberpunk 2077 will not have microtransactions, Cyberpunk Multiplayer Online thing will have microtransactions. And we already knew that. This isn't new. Many are talking about how CD Projekt execs have called microtransactions a bad idea in the past, but that quote comes from a conversation specifically about post-launch microtransactions, not microtransactions altogether. Some people are already mad that this multiplayer game will have microtransactions, but we don't know anything about that game yet, so just hold your horses for now. If indeed it is really bad, then we'll all be there ripping CD Projekt to shreds, but right now we don't know that yet, so save that battle for another day. People are just getting angry about speculation. The multiplayer project won't be coming out for a long time yet and is being developed by a separate, smaller team, so it's not like resources are being taken away from the single player game. None of this is actually news, as we were told all this last year, but it's easy to drum up rage clicks. I do understand being mad about this, as so many games have been overstuffed with microtransactions and it keeps happening over and over and over again, but this will not be the case with this single player game. Microtransactions suck in all full-priced games, but we don't even know if that's what this multiplayer spin-off is yet. There are definite question marks over how the monetization will work in Cyberpunk multiplayer, and you're right to be concerned, but the single-player RPG Cyberpunk 2077 won't have microtransactions. I don't know how many times I can reiterate that, so you don't have to worry about that game. The two are different things. The multiplayer game might well get ruined by microtransactions, although we don't even know that yet, but the single-player game is just fine. Plus, it will be getting premium and free DLC packs, and the next-gen upgrades are totally free too. CD Projekt didn't lie, the two games are totally separate things, none of this is new info. Now that's all cleaned up, let's move on with our days, shall we? And next up, Microsoft will officially be launching not one, but two new game consoles at the end of the year. Finally, 9 months after being first unveiled, we have a price for the damn things and a release date of November 10th, 2020. The main console, the Xbox Series X, is the more powerful of the two and boasts a 12 teraflop GPU that Xbox fanboys keep slapping the Sony ponies with. This console will cost $499, which is pretty much in line with what I expected. This system will also offer 4K visuals at 60 frames per second, with some games like Halo Infinite going all the way up to 120 frames per second in multiplayer. Of course, that's assuming this game ever actually comes out. The second console, confusingly named the Xbox Series S, is the lower performance model and will cost $299. Both machines will be purchasable through Xbox All Access, which is a monthly payment model similar to how mobile phone contracts work. You will pay $35 a month for the Series X and $25 a month for the Series S. The mobile phone industry has clearly found this to be a very lucrative business model, so it makes sense that Microsoft would try to do the same thing. This could be a really good option for people who can't afford to pay such a large amount of money in one go, but I have my concerns about how this could evolve in the future. How many versions of the iPhone have we seen in the past few years with virtually no innovation that still charge massive contract costs? My big worry is that a similar thing will happen in the games industry and we'll see half a dozen new Xbox consoles which are all identical but still cost $500 each. That business model has been hugely successful in the mobile market, and I hope its issues won't bleed over into gaming. All this information comes from Windows Central, which cites its own sources and also makes reference to a recent leak, but Microsoft itself has quickly come out to officially unveil the price and look of the Series S model. While the numbers for the Series X are currently unconfirmed at the moment, Xbox's official Twitter confirmed that the Series S will cost $299 and will be the smallest Xbox ever. Of course, the internet has now taken to mocking the console's design. Now you get to choose between the router, the fridge, and the drive-through speaker. Both consoles are set to launch on the 10th of November this year, so it's about bloody time we had some information about pricing, and hopefully Microsoft will officially confirm how much the Series X will cost soon. Windows Central's claim of $499 sounds fairly reasonable to me, but it's still pretty pricey, so a smaller, cheaper version sounds like a good move for people who can't afford to drop so much cash. Going forward, the ball is now in Sony's court, as it has also not yet revealed the price of its PS5 console, so the pressure is on. What do you think about these prices? Is $500 too much? Is this Xbox All Access business model a good idea, or do you share my concerns? And finally, Marvel's Avengers may be a mixed bag, but that hasn't stopped it topping this week's physical game sales charts in the UK. However, Insomniac's Spider-Man on PS4 sold more than 3 times as many when it launched back in 2018, although that game didn't have to contend with a global pandemic affecting physical sales. But since Avengers is a game as a service, it's expected to earn a lot more money over time through in-game microtransactions, and adding more characters should, in theory, give the game a bit more longevity. Again, in theory. I published my review of Avengers yesterday, so check that out if you want to know my thoughts. Elsewhere in the charts, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 Remake took the number 2 spot. The game has been pretty well received, achieving an 88 on Metacritic, which is well above the last game from 2015, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5, which got a pitiful 32. However, it failed to beat the original PS1 Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 on Metacritic, which sits at 98, making it literally the second highest rated game of all time on the site. NBA 2K21 took third place, which should come as no surprise as it's just another sports game, but it has sold 37% fewer copies than last year's entry. And that's it for today. If you like this no shit format, go ahead and give the video a like to give it a boost, hit subscribe and the bell to stay notified about all future installments. Toss a coin to your YouTuber over at patreon.com/prettygoodgaming. I've been Henry Cooper. That's all for today. Bye for now.